like thinking back in your like your experience, how are they balancing those discussions right now around traditional medicine and evidence? Like what's happening in there?
Yeah. I would say it's a bit of a dumpster fire. And I
To
would
put it
also
lightly.
say, yeah. And I would also say that it's potentially gotten worse only because now we have so many, I think maybe post COVID, things also changed, but we have so many differing opinions from each lecturer. So now we're going to one class and being taught one viewpoint, and then we're going to another class and being taught another viewpoint. And I think that a lot of the intention was to like get everyone to think the same, which I don't think is always a good thing, but there shouldn't be bias in from like a medicine standpoint, right? Like we can talk about how we feel about things and all of that, but like the science is the science, right? And I don't think that we got enough of that. Jeanette, I don't know if you agree. I know that we had some amazing professors. I will say, like, we had quite a few, even from like a pharmacology perspective. What was it? ClinMed was a really good one.
Mm.
So we did have those opportunities, and I think that made it a little bit more bearable. But it's hard when you go from that to like a lecture about homeopathy, and they're telling you that you like don't need a vaccine or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. I think it was also difficult as well, like even from an examination standpoint, or even just studying for exams now, actually. When a book or a resource, like a naturopathic resource, will say one thing, say about nutrition, and you're going to be tested on this, like one, I want to say opinion on nutrition, and that's not the correct actual evidence, but then you're tested on it. So then you have to remember that. And then there's another resource saying another thing. And it's just like, what am I even being taught here? Like, am I being taught to memorize incorrect facts for an exam, or am I being taught the correct updated evidence? So I found that like very frustrating, especially coming from such a heavy science background, like U of T neuroscience. Like it was just very much like going through papers every lecture. So going from that environment to this environment was like very frustrating for me. So
Yeah, I would also add that I have this memory in my head of an exam question that said, how would you nutritionally treat somebody with rheumatoid arthritis? And the options were to do an elimination diet, to get rid of nightshades, to do a gluten free diet, and to do a dairy free diet or something like that. And I remember sitting there thinking, well, who's marking it? Because if I know who's marking it, then I know how I'll answer it.
mhm.
Not necessarily the right answer. Actually, I don't even think the right answer was there. but but I remember just thinking, okay, what professor would have been doing this? What TA is going to be marking this? Because that really is going to change the
Mhm.
outcome for me.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Like just honestly. And then we want prescribing rights and like to sit at the table in policy. And yeah, it's so fascinating that like we want the responsibility. And I talked about this with the CA&D. Like we want the great power, but we don't want to take responsibility for some of the things that we need to in order to
Yeah.
have what we want to have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how what did that feel like to be there and in that? And then how did you make it through, or how, what was your like sort of hope line that you like allowed yourself to like make it through
Yeah.
despite all of that was happening?
I think for me, like, I was really looking forward to clinic because that was kind of my way to have a one-on-one experience with a patient where I knew I could do what I wanted to do, where I could kind of have my own way of going about treatment plans and things like that. And I mean, that's a whole other thing. I mean, it really depends on the supervisor that you had and how much kind of they trusted you and how much they would essentially let you do. But I think that really carried me through the program because, yeah, there was some things, again, that I just learned for the exam and some things that I knew I would never even use in clinic unless I absolutely had to. So I think getting through clinic was like something that, or looking forward to clinic was something that got me through the program. And then just holding on to the idea that when you are an ND, you don't have to use all the modalities and the things that you learn in school. I think that also really helped me too. I don't know about
Hmm.
Vic, but
Yeah. I think it was also seeing people like you, Jordan, and like people in the Confident Clinician. And Jeanette and I had a really unique experience where, because of our podcast, we were able to make those connections probably easier than the average person. But I think being able to see, like, oh, hey, like we don't all have to just be like robots and do the same thing when we leave this profession. We don't need to all just like sit in our clinic, take one-to-one patients, and like spout out BS.
Protocols.
Right. And that we can like actually think differently if we want, and we can surround ourselves with people who are kind of aligned in that. That excited me.
Mhm.
Right. So that's always for Jeanette and I think it was probably one of the biggest reasons we even started our podcast, was because we wanted those connections and we wanted to make sure that we were with those people so that our career can be what we truly want it to be.